I want to share a testimony of Jessica. This is what happened to Jessica. Family, when I tell you this story, I need you to lean in. Not because it's dramatic, not because it's pretty, but because it's real. And if God could do this for her, He can do it for you. Jessica was not always broken. She grew up in church, Sunday mornings, choir rehearsals, Bible verses stuck to the refrigerator. She knew how to pray. She knew how to worship. She knew the language of faith. But knowing about God is not the same as holding on to Him when life starts falling apart. In her late 20s, everything began to crumble. She had a decent job at a marketing firm. She had an apartment she was proud of. She had friends, a relationship she thought would end in marriage. From the outside, she looked stable. Then in 1 year, everything shifted. First, the company downsized. She lost her job with a 2-week notice and a polite email. No warning, no backup plan, just a cardboard box and a final paycheck. She told herself it was temporary, but bills don't pause because you're optimistic. Her savings ran out. The boyfriend she thought would stand by her slowly became distant. Arguments increased. He told her she had changed. Eventually, he left. And that was the first night she truly felt alone. The silence in her apartment was loud. No job, no partner, no direction. That's when anxiety crept in. She couldn't sleep. Her thoughts were racing. What's wrong with me? Why is this happening? God, where are you? But instead of running to God, she ran from Him. A friend introduced her to something to take the edge off. Just something to calm down. Just something to numb the pain. Just once. But just once became weekends. Weekends became weekdays. Before she knew it, she was depending on substances to feel normal. Jessica, the church girl. Jessica, who once led devotionals. Now hiding pills in her purse. Now lying to her mother on the phone. Now avoiding church because she felt too ashamed to walk through those doors. Months passed. She lost her apartment. She couldn't keep up with rent. She moved into a small room at a friend's place, but even that didn't last long. Her behavior became unpredictable. She pushed people away, burned bridges. There was one night she later described as her rock bottom. She was sitting on the bathroom floor of a cheap motel room. No money left. Phone almost dead. Heart empty. She looked at herself in the mirror and didn't recognize the woman's stay. Back. Mascara smudged. Eyes hollow. Hope gone. And she said something she hadn't said in a long time. God, if you're real, if you still want me, I can't do this anymore. It wasn't a polished prayer. It wasn't a church prayer. It was a desperate whisper. But heaven hears whispers. The next morning, she got a call from a number she didn't recognize. She almost ignored it. But something told her to answer. It was an old coworker, someone she hadn't spoken to in over a year. He said, "Jessica, I don't know why, but your name was on my heart. Are you okay?" She broke down on that phone. He connected her with a faith-based recovery program. At first, she resisted. She felt unworthy. She felt dirty. She felt too far gone. But she went. The first weeks were hard. Detox was painful. Facing herself was painful. Admitting she had lost control was painful, but for the first time in a long time, she wasn't numbing the pain. She was feeling it and bringing it to God. Every morning they had prayer. At first, she couldn't even lift her hands. She felt like a fraud. But one day, during worship, something broke. Not in a bad way, in a holy way. She began to cry. Not the quiet kind of tears, the deep, shaking kind. Years of guilt, years of shame, years of self-hatred pouring out. And in that moment, she said she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not because her life was fixed. It wasn't. She still didn't have a job. She still had broken relationships to mend. She still had consequences to face. But she felt forgiven. And when you truly feel forgiven, everything changes. She started rebuilding slowly, one day at a time. She got a small part-time job cleaning offices at night. It wasn't glamorous, but she showed up, on time. Every time. She began reading her Bible again, not out of habit, out of hunger. She would wake up early and pray, even when it was just, "God, help me stay sober today." And God did. Months passed. Her mind became clearer. Her smile became real again. Then one day, the manager of one of the offices she cleaned noticed her work ethic. They struck up a conversation. He learned about her marketing background. Weeks later, he offered her an entry-level position in the company. It wasn't the same title she once had. It wasn't the same salary. But it was a door, and this time, she knew who opened it.